Hey guys, it's Megan Marie from woodyandmarie.com here for another snack session. I have some really tasty treats to share with you today. Have you guys ever eaten Terra chips? They've been around for a while and they are vegetable. They do actually have some fruit-based chips as well. But I have been looking for some different types of potato chips because I typically can only eat the ones that are pretty basic, plain, original chips. And I wanted something a little bit different, something that maybe was a little bit healthier than just a potato. So sweet potato, I guess, is a little bit more nutritious. But they have some really neat flavors, some that are potentially low FODMAP. Terra chips are typically made from very simple ingredients. We'll check out their website in a minute and really dive into what those ingredients are. But typically it's going to be a vegetable with some type of oil and salt. So I love labels that are really simple and easy to read. I don't have to Google every single ingredient on the label to make sure that it is safe for my low FODMAP diet. Very simple ingredients. I can look at it at a glance and know, yes, this is safe. And actually, these chips are lower in carbs than you might think. There are 6 servings in this bag. Each serving is 1 ounce. And the total amount of carbs for 1 serving is only 15 grams. That's really not terrible. And the total fat is 10 grams, which sounds kind of high. And especially if you do have IBS and fat triggers symptoms for you, then that could be a concern. I do typically keep my serving sizes down to just 1 serving of these chips per sitting because they are high in fat. So make sure that if you're pairing this with maybe a sandwich that has cheese on it, you don't overdo it because when you have too much fat, it can affect your gut motility. But they really are great for snacking. So that is also another option. And I'm always looking for low FODMAP snacks because I do feel like I can, find recipes pretty easily and create some different meals. But when it comes to actually reaching for a quick snack, that's a little bit more difficult. And I'm looking for things that are going to be flavorful and really satisfy my cravings. So I don't always just want to reach for some fruits or vegetables or things that have a lot of carbs in them. These chips are a pretty good consolation. So let's open these up and check them out. I don't think I can open them. Oh. I think you're meant to open them from the side. Ooh, wow. Very tasty. Website, and we're just gonna take a look at the different chips that they offer. Not all of these are going to be totally safe for the low FODMAP diet. So they basically have vegetable chips, including sweet potato chips, and then plantain chips as well. So they have sweet potato chips with and without salt. The one thing that I will point out on here is that they do have some that are different flavors. So the sweet chipotle and their barbecue. Typically, when you're looking at flavored chips, they are going to include some kind of dry rub. So that is going to contain things like garlic and onion. So if we take a look at the barbecue, for instance, and this is typical of most barbecue chips, but if we look at the nutrition facts, we can see in the ingredients list, it lists onion powder and garlic powder and other spices. So this would be one that you would want to avoid. You also want to be careful about the types of oil that they use, but luckily avocado oil is also safe on a low FODMAP diet in certain serving sizes. If we check out their exotic vegetable chips, you'll see that they have kind of a mix of different root vegetables, which can get a little confusing when you're trying to make sure that you don't pick a snack that is going to involve stacking FODMAPs. So although sweet potatoes might be safe and taro might be safe, they might not be safe when you're stacking them together in one sitting or one serving. So let's explore some of the options that we have here. The blues are really just blue potato. So these should be safe on a low FODMAP diet because they're really just potato. And of course they have sweets and blues, which are sweet potato and blue potato. So those should also be safe on a low FODMAP diet. Exotic potato is a really interesting one, very colorful, very pretty. And again, it's gold potato, sweet potato, blue potato, and then this ruby dipped vegetables. So it's basically just a little bit of beet juice. I'm not sure how much beet juice you can have on a low FODMAP diet, but according to the Monash FODMAP app, they do include the FODMAP limit for beetroot, which is 2 thin slices. And since this is technically going to be juice, it's going to be more concentrated. So you would definitely need to test this. It does contain fructan and GOS. Exotic harvest is a possible other option. So again, it's blue potato, and we know that carrots don't have any FODMAPs, but what about kabocha? This is also known as Japanese pumpkin, and actually there are no FODMAPs in this either. So this would be a perfect low FODMAP snack. Taro chips are actually also low FODMAP in certain serving sizes. Taro is safe in half-cup servings, and then you start getting into higher GOS content. Sweets and beets I would probably stay away from. Sweets and carrots should be fine. Sweets and apples are one that I would stay away from. Apples are high in FODMAPs in certain serving sizes. So unless you've tested apples and you know that you can tolerate a higher amount, then that could be one that you can try. The Terra Original chips are a really good example of potential FODMAP stacking. So here we have yucca, also known as cassava. This is low in FODMAPs at half a cup of GOS, but so is taro. So you could definitely end up stacking those FODMAP groups. Sweet potato is safe in half a cup serving sizes, but then becomes high in mannitol. Then of course we already talked about beetroot and how that can be high in fructan and GOS, which we've already mentioned GOS twice. So yet another way to stack GOS and go over your limit. Parsnip actually has no FODMAPs. And then batata is basically just another form of sweet potato. So it probably has some FODMAPs and can probably stack with the sweet potato. So this is why you have to be really careful, because when you think that you're picking a snack that is actually very healthy for you and has some vegetables and fruit in it, we have to be really careful on a low FODMAP diet because we can easily go over our limit. So let's check out their plantain chips. Plantains only have trace amounts of FODMAPs, and you can eat these freely in serving sizes as high as 1 whole plantain. So this should be pretty safe, but definitely test it. And here's an example of a different type of oil that's being used, coconut oil, which also should be low FODMAP in certain serving sizes. Again, I think this is one that is possibly a low FODMAP snack, but definitely needs testing before you can officially say that it's safe for your diet. So those are Terra chips. Speaking of chips, have you guys had Late July's tortilla chips? They're really good, and they actually have one that is made of chia and quinoa. Chia is safe on a low FODMAP diet in servings of about 2 tablespoons, and then you start to get into some higher fructan content. Quinoa is actually safe in serving sizes of a full cup, and then you start to get into some higher GOS content. So these Late July chips are perfect for snacking and pairing with our homemade salsa, which you should check out. Or even using with our chili recipe. And I really think they're a lot more nutritional than just a regular corn tortilla chip because it does have chia and quinoa in it. So these actually have about 16 grams of carbs, which are very similar to the Terra chips. And they have about 7 grams of fat, so a little bit less fat than other potato chips. Again, this is a chip I can really get behind because of the simple ingredients. So it's literally just corn, oil, chia seeds, quinoa, sea salt. Very simple ingredients, things I can quickly look up on Google or my Monash FODMAP app and tell that they are probably safe. And I've been eating them. You can have about 10 chips per serving, and I'm sure I've gone over that and it really hasn't bothered me. You can see they're just a regular tortilla chip, and you can see the flakes of quinoa and chia seeds in them. These are certified gluten-free as well. Of course, they're vegan. Fun fact, Late July is actually a subsidiary of Campbell Soup Corporation. So is Pepperidge Farm. And you may have noticed that both of these brands have started releasing some healthier, more allergen-friendly products. And this is really good news for those of us on a low FODMAP diet because it gives us a better chance of being able to find snacks and different types of food that we could actually enjoy on a low FODMAP diet. So let's check out Late July snacks. Again, we're going to run into the issue of having some flavored chips. So they have all of their restaurant-style tortilla chips. Chia and quinoa is the one that I showed you today. I've had their blue corn tortilla chips before. They're absolutely delicious. I will say that this brand is a little bit more expensive than just buying some like plain tortilla chips. And the bag is not as big as you might get in some other brands for the price. But they are really good, and if you want something a little bit different, this could be a go-to brand for you. So if we click on this chip and look at the nutrition label, we can see that it has corn, oil, and sea salt and lime oil. So this should be pretty low FODMAP. Jalapeno might be fine if you are okay with jalapeno pepper. Sometimes spicy foods can cause some IBS symptoms. Then they have just different shapes for dipping, right? And here's where we can get ourselves into some trouble because their Classico tortilla chips are all going to be flavored. We see barbecue again and nacho. So these are probably not going to be safe because they are going to have some milk products in it and some garlic and onion powder. So I would say these are probably totally off limits. And then we get into their vegetable tortilla chips. Their red pepper has some very simple ingredients. Again, we have corn, oil, red pepper flakes, chia seeds, sea salt, chipotle, and chili pepper extracts. So this might be a little spicy. I would definitely test that out. And I'd be curious to know if their chili powder is actually gluten-free, garlic-free, and onion-free. Sometimes that just kind of comes with chili powder unless they are making it from scratch. But it's also probably a very small amount. So if you can tolerate that, then go for it. Their carrot chips have some of the same type of ingredients, but most notably we have carrot powder, some safe spices, and teff, which I have heard of before, but I had never seen it in any of the items that I've picked up from the grocery store. So I actually looked on the Monash app to research and found out that teff is a gluten-free flour and it should be low FODMAP. In the Monash app, there is a note that says products made with teff flour should be low FODMAP, but that other ingredients added during the food processing as well as the type of food processing that's used may increase the FODMAP content of the final product. Now, I would assume that would be for things like breads, but you never know. So it's definitely something that is worth testing because at first glance you think, oh, carrots don't have any FODMAPs, this should be fine. But when you actually look at some of the ingredients, this is a question mark for me, and it would definitely prevent me from buying this unless I was going to kind of say this is for testing and I'm going to eat this money, literally. If I have to throw these out, then, that I just have to like set my mind that, this might not work out. And here we have another sweet potato chip, which is really interesting, and it also has chia seeds in it. I would really like to try these. I haven't seen these in stores, but I haven't really been looking for them because honestly I've only ever had their tortilla chips. So I think I might try these and see what they taste like. I've really been missing Doritos. So maybe one of these will turn out to taste like Doritos. I'll try to include them in a snack session in the future if I'm able to find them. Now, they also have grain-free tortilla chips and crackers, which at first sounds really healthy, right? But actually grain-free is not going to be suitable for a low FODMAP diet. If we check out the nutrition, of course, it's made with wheat flour and actually has a lot of milk products in it. Surprisingly, their crackers actually have cassava flour in them, which is going to be high in FODMAPs in probably a serving size of this. Find more product recommendations just like these at woodyandmarie.com.